Have you ever felt your stomach drop for no clear reason? Have you ever watched someone you love laugh a little too hard with someone else and suddenly your chest felt tight? Have you ever scrolled through Instagram and thought, why is everyone else winning except me? Why does jealousy feel so immediate? Why does it feel so personal? Why does it feel like something is being taken from you, even when nothing has actually happened? And here is the question most people avoid. If jealousy feels ugly, insecure, and toxic, why is it universal? Why does it show up in love, in friendships, in family, and even at work? Why would evolution design an emotion that causes so much pain? Tonight, we are not judging jealousy. We are dissecting it. Because jealousy is not weakness. It is a signal. It is fear mixed with attachment. It is insecurity mixed with love. It is comparison mixed with survival instinct. And if you do not understand it, it will control you. This is the psychology of jealousy. What jealousy actually is. First, we need clarity. Jealousy is not the same as envy. Psychologists make a clear distinction. Envy happens when you want what someone else has. Jealousy happens when you fear losing something you already have. If your coworker buys a new car and you wish you had it, that is envy. If you feel threatened because someone might take your position at work, that is jealousy. Jealousy is relational. It requires three elements: you, something you value, and a perceived rival. Psychologist Dr. Richard Smith explains that jealousy is a complex social emotion because it combines multiple emotional systems at once. It includes fear, anger, sadness, anxiety, and sometimes shame. That is why jealousy feels overwhelming. You are not feeling one emotion. You are experiencing an emotional storm, and your brain treats it like danger. The evolutionary blueprint. To understand jealousy, we have to go back to evolutionary psychology. Dr. David Buss, a leading evolutionary psychologist at the University of Texas, conducted large cross-cultural studies across 37 cultures. His findings were consistent across continents. Men reported greater distress over sexual infidelity. Women reported greater distress over emotional infidelity. This pattern appeared in North America, Europe, Asia, Africa, and South America. Why would this difference exist? From an evolutionary perspective, men historically faced paternity uncertainty. If a partner was sexually unfaithful, a man risked investing resources in a child who was not genetically his. Women, on the other hand, historically relied more heavily on a partner's resources and protection for survival and child rearing. If a partner became emotionally attached elsewhere, it threatened long-term commitment and support. Jealousy evolved as a defense mechanism. It was not designed to feel pleasant. It was designed to prevent loss. In ancient environments, losing a mate could mean losing survival. Today, losing a relationship hurts emotionally, but your brain still reacts as if survival is at stake. The emotional intensity makes more sense when you understand that it is ancient. What happens in the brain? Jealousy is not just a feeling. It is neurological. Brain imaging studies have shown that jealousy activates the amygdala, which processes fear and threat detection. It also activates the anterior cingulate cortex, which processes social pain. Research from Naomi Eisenberger at UCLA showed that social rejection activates the same neural regions as physical pain. That is not metaphorical. Your brain literally processes rejection like injury. Studies conducted at Kyoto University found that imagining a romantic rival activates brain areas linked to aggression and rumination. This explains why jealousy can lead to obsessive thought. You replay conversations, you imagine scenarios, you search for signs. Your brain goes into threat monitoring mode. Jealousy hijacks attention, and when attention is hijacked, logic weakens. Attachment theory and jealousy. Not everyone experiences jealousy the same way. Attachment theory explains why. John Bowlby and Mary Ainsworth showed that early childhood relationships shape adult romantic behavior. There are four primary attachment styles: secure, anxious, avoidant, fearful avoidant. Research consistently shows that people with anxious attachment experience more intense and frequent jealousy. They fear abandonment more strongly. They interpret ambiguous situations as threats. If someone with anxious attachment sees their partner talking to someone attractive, their nervous system reacts instantly, not because they have proof, but because their brain learned early that love can disappear. Avoidantly attached individuals experience jealousy too, but they often suppress it or detach emotionally. Securely attached individuals feel jealousy, but they regulate it better and communicate openly. Jealousy intensity often reflects attachment insecurity. It is less about the rival. It is more about your internal sense of stability. Social comparison and modern jealousy. In 1954, psychologist Leon Festinger introduced social comparison theory. He argued that humans determine their self-worth by comparing themselves to others. This made sense in small tribes, but today, comparison is constant. Social media amplifies comparison beyond anything humans evolved for. Research from the University of Pennsylvania found that limiting social media usage significantly reduced loneliness and depressive symptoms. Why? Because constant exposure to curated success triggers envy and jealousy. You see engagement announcements, luxury vacations, fitness transformations, career milestones, but you never see insecurity, arguments, debt, or doubt. Your brain compares your behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel. Jealousy thrives in distorted comparison. Romantic jealousy and love chemistry. Anthropologist Dr. Helen Fisher describes romantic love as a dopamine-driven motivation system. When you fall in love, dopamine increases, reward circuits activate, the person becomes neurologically significant. When that bond feels threatened, cortisol rises, stress hormones increase, the body shifts into alert mode. That is why romantic jealousy feels more intense than workplace jealousy. It activates both attachment systems and reward systems. You are not only afraid of loss, you are afraid of losing your emotional reward source. This is why jealousy can feel addictive. You obsess because your brain wants reassurance, but reassurance gives only temporary relief. The deeper issue is often insecurity. Workplace and status jealousy. Jealousy is deeply tied to status. Humans evolved in hierarchical groups. Status influenced access to resources and reproductive opportunity. Research published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology shows that status threats activate stress response. If a coworker gets promoted, your brain may interpret it as personal decline, even if your position has not changed. Jealousy in professional environments often leads to two paths. It can motivate self-improvement, or it can fuel sabotage. The difference depends on emotional intelligence and self-esteem. Pathological jealousy. In extreme cases, jealousy becomes delusional. Othello syndrome is a psychiatric condition involving irrational beliefs of infidelity without evidence. It is often associated with neurological disorders, substance abuse, or severe personality disturbances. But most jealousy is not pathological. It is emotional insecurity amplified by imagination. The danger begins when imagination turns into certainty, when suspicion becomes accusation, when fear becomes control. Is jealousy ever healthy? Research suggests that mild jealousy can signal investment in a relationship. Complete absence of jealousy may indicate emotional disengagement. The key difference is regulation. Healthy jealousy says, "I felt insecure. Can we talk about it?" Unhealthy jealousy says, "I know you are betraying me." The first invites connection. The second creates defensiveness. Jealousy itself is not destructive. Unregulated jealousy is. Jealousy is not your enemy. It is a messenger. It asks one question: what am I afraid of losing? Sometimes the answer is love. Sometimes it is status. Sometimes it is identity. Sometimes it is your sense of worth. If you ignore jealousy, it becomes control. If you understand jealousy, it becomes insight. The emotion is ancient. The triggers are modern. The responsibility is yours. Because jealousy will either shrink your relationships or force you to grow beyond your insecurity. And growth is always harder than accusation. This is MindCraft Lab, where we do not just study psychology, we study ourselves.